There are moments in life when a message does not simply appear, it arrives as if it has always belonged to you. It does not come from the outside world, but from the depths of something far older within you. Perhaps you have felt it before, like a whisper in your dreams, or a pull in the silent hours of the night. This is not coincidence. This is not chance. This is the unfolding of a pattern you were destined to encounter. The message you are about to hear carries the weight of inevitability. It was always meant to find you, and the fact that you are listening now is proof that the universe has conspired to place you here, in this very moment, where your inner and outer worlds finally meet. The call of the unconscious is not something that arrives with noise or spectacle. It does not demand attention through force, rather it lingers quietly, waiting for the right moment to rise into your awareness. It is often experienced as a faint restlessness, a feeling that there is something missing, or a recurring thought that refuses to dissolve. Many dismiss this whisper, mistaking it for distraction or fleeting imagination, but in truth, it is the deeper part of the psyche attempting to reach you. This call emerges when the conscious life you live no longer aligns with the hidden depths of who you are meant to become. It is not random, it is purposeful. It emerges when your surface existence is insufficient for the soul that seeks to grow. The unconscious speaks in a language that is older than words. It communicates through symbols, through dreams, through images that rise in moments when the rational mind is at rest. These fragments, sometimes confusing and mysterious, are not without meaning. They are carefully shaped echoes of your inner world, revealing truths that your conscious self may not yet be ready to see. The call is therefore not external but deeply internal, carrying messages from the parts of yourself that have been ignored, repressed, or forgotten. These messages insist that you look inward, not outward, to find what you seek. Often, the call of the unconscious feels uncomfortable because it disrupts the order of your ordinary life. It creates tension between who you think you are and who you truly are. This tension is necessary. Without it, you would remain asleep to your potential, unaware of the forces shaping your path. The discomfort is a signal that transformation is near. The unconscious does not call you to keep you where you are. It calls you to move, to evolve, to bridge the gap between your outer mask and your inner reality. At times, the call may appear as conflict. You may feel torn between choices, uncertain of direction, unable to silence the inner debate. This is not failure. This is the psyche's way of guiding you to confront what lies beneath the surface. Conflict is often the disguise under which truth reveals itself. To ignore it is to reject the invitation of the unconscious. Yet to face it is to step into a deeper understanding of yourself. Dreams, sudden insights, or patterns that repeat themselves are all signals of this inner calling. They are not coincidences, they are reminders. The unconscious shapes your perception in ways you may not recognize, nudging you toward experiences and encounters that awaken recognition within you. When you find yourself repeatedly drawn to certain images, feelings, or situations, it is because they are carriers of meaning meant for you alone. The call of the unconscious is, above all, an opening. It is the moment when the unseen world within begins to break through the surface of ordinary life, demanding to be acknowledged. It arrives quietly, yet with immense power, not as a distraction, but as a summons to discover the parts of yourself that have always waited in silent synchronicity, and the patterns of fate are often misunderstood as coincidence. Yet coincidence is merely the shallow word we use when we cannot see the invisible threads binding events together. There are moments when the external world aligns so perfectly with your inner state that it seems as if reality itself is responding to your thoughts and emotions. A chance meeting, a repeated symbol, a message arriving at the very hour you needed it. these are not accidents. They are signs that your inner and outer worlds are communicating in a way that transcends logic. Synchronicity is not about control, it is about recognition. It is the realization that life is not a random scattering of disconnected moments, but a woven pattern in which meaning reveals itself through timing. The patterns of fate are not forced upon you from outside. They arise from the unconscious shaping the lens through which you perceive the world. What you are drawn to, what you notice, and what captures your attention are reflections of your inner condition. Two people can walk the same street, yet one sees only noise and distraction, while the other notices a symbol that stirs their soul. The event is the same, but the meaning is unique. This is the essence of synchronicity. It is personal, intimate, and tailored to your journey. The unconscious selects its moments carefully, revealing itself in experiences that only you can fully recognize as significant. When synchronicity occurs, it feels as though time bends. You feel both the inevitability of the moment and the impossibility of it happening in any other way. These encounters carry weight, a sense that they were scripted not by your will, but by something larger moving beneath the surface of existence. It is here that fate enters, not as a rigid destiny that locks you into a fixed path, but as a pattern of potential waiting for you to awaken to it. Fate whispers through synchronicities, offering you the choice to listen or to look away. The more you resist the call of synchronicity, the more it insists on returning, often with greater intensity. Ignoring these patterns does not erase them. It only deepens the divide between your conscious awareness and the truth seeking expression through you. Yet when you open yourself to them, you begin to see how your life has always been guided, how the message before you now was always in motion, moving toward you across years and experiences until it could finally meet you in this exact moment. The power of synchronicity lies in its timing. It arrives not when you ask for it, but when you are ready for it. That readiness may not feel comfortable, but it is precise. The events you once dismissed as chance suddenly appear as markers along a hidden path, guiding you closer to the center of your being. Each meaningful coincidence is not only an external sign, but also a mirror of your inner readiness to receive what has always belonged to you. The shadow, as a hidden messenger, is one of the most difficult truths to face, because it forces you to confront what you would rather keep buried. The shadow is not evil in itself, though it is often misunderstood that way. It is made up of the parts of yourself that you have denied, rejected, or hidden from others. These may be impulses, desires, fears, or memories that did not fit the image you wanted to show the world. Over time, they sink below the surface, but they never disappear. They wait in silence, shaping your thoughts, emotions, and choices in ways you may not notice. When they finally rise, it is not to harm you, but to deliver a message that your conscious self has ignored for too long. The shadow reveals itself through projection. You see in others what you cannot face in yourself. The person who irritates you, the one who stirs anger or envy in you, often reflects something within that you have not yet accepted. This is why relationships become mirrors, exposing what the conscious mind tries to deny. The shadow is clever in this way. It disguises itself in the people and situations around you, so that you cannot escape its presence. The very traits you despise in others often hold the key to what you must confront in yourself. The hidden message of the shadow is not to shame you, but to awaken you. What you repress gains power over you, shaping your destiny from the dark. But when you acknowledge it, when you dare to bring light into those hidden places, the shadow transforms. What once felt threatening becomes a source of strength. The parts of you that seemed unworthy or dangerous carry energy, creativity, and vitality that can be reclaimed. The shadow is not an enemy. It is a teacher disguised in darkness, waiting for you to see through its mask. Encounters with the shadow are often painful. They appear as conflicts, failures, or repeated mistakes that seem impossible to escape. Each time you turn away, the lesson grows sharper, more insistent. The shadow insists on being heard because its message is essential for your wholeness. Ignoring it only delays the inevitable confrontation. The discomfort it brings is the proof of its importance, for the psyche does not waste energy on what does not matter. What you resist most fiercely often holds the treasure you seek. To meet the shadow is to enter into dialogue with the unknown within you. It is not an act of destruction, but of integration. You do not eliminate the shadow, you embrace it, recognizing it as part of yourself. Only then can its hidden message be revealed, that the darkness you fear is not separate from you, but a doorway to a greater self. The shadow is the bridge between who you believe you are and who you are truly capable of becoming, and its presence in your life is the sign that transformation is already underway. Symbols that speak beyond words emerge from a realm deeper than language. They are not inventions of the conscious mind, but expressions of something older, more primal, rooted in the collective depths of human experience. A symbol carries within it a mystery, a living presence that cannot be fully explained, yet is instantly recognized by the soul. Unlike signs, which merely point to something external, symbols open a doorway to the inner world, inviting you into layers of meaning that words alone can never capture. They arrive in dreams, in art, in sacred images, and even in the ordinary objects of daily life that suddenly feel charged with significance. When a symbol appears, it does not ask for analysis, it demands recognition. It speaks not to the intellect but to the imagination, to that part of you that feels before it understands. This is why a single image can stir powerful emotions, evoke memories you cannot place, or awaken longings you never put into words. A symbol is not passive, it is alive, carrying the wisdom of generations, the essence of human struggle, hope, and transformation. To encounter a symbol is to encounter a mirror of the psyche itself, showing you not only who you are but who you might become. The unconscious uses symbols because ordinary language is too limited for its depth. What is infinite cannot be compressed into plain speech. Instead, it cloaks its messages in forms that bypass rational defenses and strike directly at the core of being. A serpent in a dream, a circle etched in memory, a recurring number that appears in your path. These are not meaningless images. They are carriers of messages that the conscious mind may resist but cannot ignore. To dismiss them as trivial is to silence the very voice that seeks to guide you. Symbols often arrive in moments of transition, when the old ways of thinking no longer suffice. They surface as guides in times of uncertainty, pointing toward truths you have not yet articulated. A dream image may seem absurd, yet it carries an emotional charge that lingers long after waking. This persistence is the unconscious insisting on your attention, reminding you that what appears irrational may hold the most profound meaning. The symbol becomes a bridge between the inner world and the outer world, weaving together the personal and the universal into a single experience of recognition. Each individual encounters symbols in a way that is deeply personal, yet the archetypal power of a symbol makes it universally resonant. A flame may represent destruction to one and illumination to another, yet both are true because the symbol is vast enough to hold contradictions. This is the power of its language. It refuses to be bound by simple definitions. Instead, It expands consciousness, pulling you beyond the limits of reason into the territory of mystery. To listen to symbols is to allow the soul to speak in its native tongue. They guide, they warn, they heal, and they inspire, all without uttering a single word. They are the threads of meaning woven into the fabric of existence, waiting for you to notice, to feel, and to follow where they lead. The journey of individuation is not a path that begins outside of you. It begins in the silent depths of your inner life. It is the gradual unfolding of the self, the movement toward wholeness where all the fragments of your being are gathered and reconciled. This journey is not about becoming someone new, but about becoming what you have always been beneath the masks and roles you have worn. Every person carries within them an unshaped potential, a hidden image of their true self, and individuation is the process of bringing that image into reality. It is not an escape from life, but a fuller embrace of it, where the conscious and unconscious no longer battle in secrecy, but begin to work together in harmony. This journey is often sparked by conflict, by a sense that the life you live no longer aligns with the life you are meant to live. It begins when the routines and patterns that once sustained you feel empty, when the familiar no longer satisfies the deeper hunger of the soul. Individuation does not arrive as comfort, it arrives as disruption, a rupture that demands attention. The cracks that appear in your carefully constructed identity are not signs of weakness, but signs that a larger self is pressing to emerge. In this way, crises and struggles are not detours on the path, they are the path itself. Individuation requires courage, because it forces you to descend into the parts of yourself you have long avoided. It means confronting the shadow, listening to symbols, and embracing the messages of the unconscious. It means no longer living only from the surface of your personality, but drawing from the depths that have been neglected. The journey is a dialogue, a constant exchange between the known and the unknown, between the ego that seeks control and the self that seeks integration. In walking this path, you are asked to surrender the illusion of certainty and open yourself to the mystery of what you truly are. The process is never linear. It does not move in straight lines but in spirals, returning you to familiar challenges with new levels of understanding. At each stage, more of the unconscious is integrated, more of the hidden self is revealed. What once appeared as contradiction becomes balance, what once seemed impossible becomes necessary. The ego resists this transformation, clinging to what is safe, but individuation is relentless. It pulls you forward even when you hesitate, because the deeper drive of life is not survival but wholeness. On this journey, the outer world and the inner world mirror each other. Encounters, relationships, and experiences become symbolic, guiding you toward the truths you need to see. Every meaningful coincidence, every recurring theme, every conflict and reconciliation is part of the tapestry woven to draw you closer to your center. To individuate is to recognize that you are not separate from these patterns but deeply bound to them, that life itself is cooperating with your becoming. The journey of individuation is the path by which you step into the fullness of your being, where the fragments of personality dissolve into the unity of the self. It is not a destination to be reached once and for all, but a continual unfolding, a lifelong process of awakening to the truth that you are more than you imagined, and that every experience has been guiding you toward the realization of this greater whole, the inevitable meeting with the self, the culmination of every inner movement, the point where the long journey of struggle, searching, and transformation converges into a single recognition. It is not a meeting arranged by willpower, nor is it something the ego can force. It arrives when all avoidance has been exhausted, when the masks and defenses you once clung to no longer hold, when the persona you showed to the world collapses under its own weight. In that moment, you are left face to face with the deeper self that has always been waiting, silent but unyielding, patient but insistent. This meeting is not an encounter with a stranger. It is an encounter with what has been hidden within you since the beginning. The self does not appear in the way the mind expects. It does not come with explanations or rational clarity. Instead, it emerges as a presence, an undeniable sense of wholeness that envelops both the light and the shadow, the known and the unknown. It reveals to you that the divisions within were illusions, that what you feared and what you loved were always two halves of the same whole. The self is the center in which opposites reconcile, where conflict gives way to meaning, and where your fragmented experiences are drawn together into coherence. This meeting is often preceded by resistance, because the ego fears the loss of control. To encounter the self is to confront the truth that you are not the master of your life in the way you once believed. There is a larger intelligence moving through you, shaping your path in ways you cannot fully command. At first, this feels like surrender, even defeat, but in time it becomes liberation, for you see that you were never meant to carry the weight of control alone. The self holds the pattern of your life, and the meeting with it reveals that you were always being guided, even in your darkest hours. Dreams, visions, and symbols often announce this meeting before it fully arrives. They prepare you, softening the rigid boundaries of the ego so that you can receive what is greater than you. The moment itself may be quiet, appearing in solitude, in reflection, or in the silence after despair. It may not be dramatic to the outside world, yet within, it is the most profound turning point of existence. To meet the self is to awaken to the realization that the journey has never been about becoming someone else, but about remembering who you truly are. This meeting cannot be avoided forever. The self is patient, but it is also inevitable. No matter how deeply you bury yourself in distractions, no matter how many identities you construct, the pull remains. Every struggle, every synchronicity, every shadow confrontation and symbol along the way has been guiding you toward this moment. The meeting with the self is not an end but a beginning, the threshold of living from a place of inner unity, where your life is no longer divided but aligned with the whole of your being.